there, fantasy owners. LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate the watch or listen no matter how you're streaming the episode. Do want to start out by saying we have a new partnership with 247clash.com. I'll put the link in the description. It is a player versus player fantasy points game where they basically make it winnable basically for everyone. You'll have different players set up, for example, Tage Thompson against Connor McDavid, who's going to get more fantasy points, etc. If you do decide to sign up and make a deposit, do use referral code LTC, and hope you guys win a few pots. Do remember it is for Canadian residents only at this time. And I'll also put a link in the description from a video from their website. It's about, I think it's 50 seconds. It's how to play it so you can understand it a little bit better and check it out there. Now back to the episode basically. Today's our week 14 strategy episode. So we're going to break down the week's schedule, find you some advantages there, suggest some players to hopefully strengthen your fantasy roster, and basically give you the advantage this week. Some things to note this week. It is 2 games for a number of teams, them being Anaheim, Boston, Chicago, Vegas, and Washington. So if you do have borderline players, those are the ones you're going to want to look at. And 4 games for a number of teams, them being Arizona, Buffalo, Carolina, Edmonton, Montreal, Nashville, Seattle, Vancouver, and Winnipeg there. Light nights are your normal light nights, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Monday and Wednesday, 4 games on each of those nights. Friday, Sunday, 3 games on those nights. So we will focus on the Monday and Wednesday light nights. Friday and Sunday we'll cover later in the week in our Weekend Ads episode there. And we'll also cover all teams that do have 4-game weeks, give you a little bit of an advantage from a man's played perspective. We will cover Buffalo, Nashville, and Seattle first, as they play 3 games in the first 4 nights this week. They're all 4-game teams, but 3 of the 4 are early in the week. That way you can jump out to that early lead after their 3 games, maybe miss out on the 4, drop them, grab somebody that has 2 games over the weekend, and then in that slot you do get 5 games potentially if you use your player ads wisely there. Then we will cover Edmonton, as they do play 3 of the 4 light nights. Everybody else has 2, 1, or none. So they play the most light nights this week. A little bit of coverage there. Then we will cover the remaining Monday teams. Then we'll cover the remaining Wednesday teams. And then we'll finish off with the 4-game teams that don't play Monday or Wednesday there. So basically we'll get right into it there. Some demon that play 3 of the first 4 nights. And remember, all these players in this segment do have a 4-game week there. Start off in Buffalo. Look at Owen Power. He's owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 3 points the last 4 games, and in those 4 games he's a +4 and has 6 blocks. He's decent since coming back with injury, and with a condensed schedule, he should be an okay option for you. Over in Nashville, look at Matthias Ekholm. He's owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 6 points his last 8 games, so pretty nice production there. 21 shots on goal, 8 hits, and 14 blocks. He's been okay the last little bit. He's definitely not the 40-plus point defenseman he used to be there, but he is a little bit streaky, but he's obviously been better of late there, and you should be okay with him having 3 games in the first 4 nights there. Over in Seattle, look at Adam Larson, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues now, playing that top pairing, and he has 7 points the last 8 games, and in those 8 games, really good secondary cats, +10, 22 shots on goal, 27 hits, 17 blocks. He's on a roll and good in multiple categories, should be a fairly safe streaming option for you if you can get him in your league there. Another one to look at in Seattle is Vince Dunn. He's owned in 53% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit there, and he has 6 points the last 4 games, +6 in those 4 games, 7 shots on goal and 10 hits there. He's been really good the last little bit, as you can tell, 6 points, 4 games there. And he definitely gets opportunity there, gets top power play, top pairing minutes, etc. So can be a little bit streaky at times, but with the condensed schedule, should be a fairly good option for you. Now we'll move along to some forwards that play 3 games in the first 4 nights. Again, all of these do have a 4-game week overall there. Start off again in Buffalo. Look at Dylan Cousins, listed as a center, owned in 54% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there, and he has 11 points the last 11 games, with 5 power play points and 23 shots on goal. He is a bit spurty lately, but overall numbers are pretty damn good for him. So with a crammed schedule, you should definitely get some value out of him. Another one in Buffalo to take a look at is Casey Middlestat, listed as a center, owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues. It plays third line, second power play unit there, and he has 3 points the last 4 games with 5 shots on goal. He is very hit and miss, so is quite risky, but in a deep league, it's an option for you nonetheless there. Over in Nashville, look at Colton Sissons, listed as a center, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line there, and he has 5 points in a 4-game point streak. And in those 4 games, he's also a +4, so pretty nice plus minus. He's been good of late, and he's in the top 6 for a while now. Not known for his offense, so I'd leave him more for your deeper leagues, but should be an okay option for you. Next one in Nashville is Cody Glass, listed as center right winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, plays third line, second power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 8 games with 17 shots on goal and 4 blocks. He's been on a roll these last couple of weeks, chipping in some other categories too there, and with the condensed schedule, especially in deeper leagues, even a standard league, he might be worth taking a shot at there. Next one in Nashville is Mikael Granlund, listed as center right winger, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line and second power play unit, and he has 5 points in a 4-game point streak, and in those 4 games, also blocked 5 shots there. He has been quite streaky, but decent of late. Obviously 5 points, 4 games. He's been good the last week there. So you should get some value with the condensed schedule there. Another one in Nashville to take a peek at is Thomas Novak, listed as a center, 0% owned, playing fourth line, but up on the top power play unit, and he has 6 points the last 8 games. Should mention their game on Friday is going on as I'm recording this. He did get the first goal there, so put that at 7 points in 9 games and counting, with 21 shots on goal in those 8 games. He's been pretty good since being called up, but not a lot of runway, so I'd leave him more for your deeper leagues and could be a sneaky option for you. Another one in Nashville is Nino Niederreiter, listed as a left winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, second power play unit there, and he has 8 points the last 9 games with 27 shots on goal and 16 hits. He's obviously been better of late. He can be a little bit streaky there, but he will get you shots on goal and hits. So depending on the format, you will get some value for sure with him. Over in Seattle, look at Matty Beniers, listed as a center, owned in 38% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, second power play unit there, and he has 7 points the last 11 games with 17 hits and 8 blocks. He gets you hits and blocks. His offense is streaky, but the kid does have offensive talent there. He kind of gets you points in bunches with him, so he should be a decent ad overall. Another one in Seattle is Jared McCann, listed as center left winger, owned in 21% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line there, top power play unit, and he has 4 points in a 3-game point streak with 3 hits and 2 blocks. Overall, his numbers are okay for a streaming option there. He can be a little bit streaky, but overall should be a fairly safe option, especially with the condensed schedule. Next one in Seattle's Eli Tolvanen, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing on the top power play unit there. And he has 3 points in the 3 games since he's joined Seattle there, with 6 shots on goal, 5 hits, and 3 blocks. He's been good, but it is a short runway there. We know he was kind of off and on in Nashville. Sounds like he might get a little bit more opportunity in Seattle. But just with the short runway, I'd leave him for your deep leagues only until we get a little bit more data on him to see if it's worthwhile in a standard league. Last one in Seattle's Daniel Sprong, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing fourth line, second power play unit there, and he has 6 points the last 7 games with 16 shots on goal. Really nice production for the fourth liner there. Does get you a little bit of power play time, so he might be an okay option with the condensed schedule there. Before we get to the next segment, do want to ask you, if you're watching via YouTube, please subscribe as we're trying to grow this channel. If you're listening via podcast, remember to hit follow, give a review, hit like, etc., just so that we can hopefully gain a little bit more traction. Hopefully you're getting some value out of these episodes, and we'll keep it going now. Now we'll look at Edmonton, just because they get 3 of 4 light nights this week. The light nights they play are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so they get the 3 earlier in the week light nights there. Defensemen, there's nobody really that you feel safe streaming. Barry and Nurse, higher ownership there, and Shards had a really tough schedule this season. It'd be hard to kind of cut somebody to pick him up there. So just a couple of forwards. First one is Clem Costin, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third line there, and he has 3 points the last 4 games with 7 shots on goal, 14 hits, and 2 blocks. He's definitely not the sexiest ad, but he does give you some hits there. He's playing well on that line with Nugent Janmark there, so in some cats, depending on how your league is formatted, he might be able to bring you some value there. Next one's one of his line mates in Matthias Janmark. He's listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 0% of Yahoo leagues, so you can snag him anywhere there. He plays just on the third line also, and he has 3 points the last 5 games with 3 blocks in there. He's getting a little bit of offense of late on Nugent's line there, but again, I'd leave him really only for a deep league. Edmonton's a team that's really top heavy there, so it's kind of hard to find one worth streaming on their team. Now we'll move along to some remaining D-men that play on Monday. We've already covered Edmonton, Nashville, Buffalo, and Seattle there. Out of this segment, Montreal does have a 4-game week, and the rest of these players outside of Montreal have 3-game weeks. So we'll start off with in Montreal. On the back end, look at Arbor Jackcash, owned in 28% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing, and he has 4 points his last 6 games with 13 shots on goal, 16 hits, and 7 blocks. He's well-rounded the last little while there. Could be a little bit streaky offensively, but he's definitely going to help you out in other categories. So if you're in a Cats league, might be worth streaming on a light night. Next one over in Philadelphia is Cam York, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 7 points the last 8 games, and in those 8 games he's +5 with 12 blocks. He does have nice numbers the last couple of weeks here, and on a light night he should definitely be worth taking a chance on there. Another one in Philadelphia is Rasmus Ristolainen, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing there, and he has 2 points the last 5 games, so under half point per game, but not a bagel anyways, and he has 8 hits and 12 blocks. His value is in hits and blocks. Any offense should be considered a bonus with him, so certain formats you will get some value out of him. Next one over in LA is Sean Dursey. He's owned in 40% of Yahoo leagues there. Plays second pairing, second power play unit, and he has 3 points the last 6 games. 2 of those points being on the power play, 11 shots on goal, and 13 blocks. He does have offensive upside, does get you some blocks, so should honestly be worth a gamble on a light night there. Over in Ottawa, look at Jake Sanderson. He's owned in 33% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 2 points the last 4 games with 9 blocks in there. He does give you a nice amount of blocks. His offense is really streaky. Started out kind of slow, then he got really hot there, then he died off. Hopefully these 2 points the next 4 games is him on an upswing again there. But remember, he is streaky, does get you some blocks, but he does get you some power play time there. And for a light night in certain formats, might be an okay ad for you. Now we'll move along to some forwards that play on Monday. Remember, we've already covered Edmonton, Nashville, Buffalo, and Seattle. So out of this segment, again, Montreal players have 4 games. The rest of the players mentioned have 3 games. We'll start off in Montreal again, get the 4 gamers out of the way early. Mike Hoffman, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit there, and he has 2 points the last 3 games with 7 shots on goal. He is very streaky, so there definitely is risk involved there. So stream in your deeper leagues only with him. Next one in Montreal is Jonathan Drouin, listed as a left winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 2 points the last 4 games, thrown 5 hits in there. He is, like Hoffman, very inconsistent, so he is risky. So again, leave him for your deep leagues options, but still an option for your real deep leagues anyways. Over in Philadelphia, look at James Van Riemsdyk, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 11 points the last 11 games with 33 shots on goal, so definitely firing pucks on net. He's been really productive the last little while since he's been moved up to in the top 6 anyways, and should be a fairly decent streamer the way it's going for him. Another one in Phillies, Morgan Frost, listed as center left winger, owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, centering that top line, top power play unit there. And he has 9 points his last 8 games with 22 shots on goal and 12 hits. He's also been pretty good these last few weeks there and should be a fairly good option in most formats there, especially on a light night. Another one in Phillies, Owen Tippett, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, second power play unit there. And he too's on a roll. 8 points the last 8 games with 19 shots on goal and 10 hits. He's been good on the top line and producing. So on a light night, he should be a fairly okay option for you. Another one in Philly is Noah Cates, listed as center left winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues there, centering that second line, second power play unit there, and he has 4 points the last 3 games, and in those 3 games he's thrown 3 hits and also had 3 blocks. So he's been good the last week, but he is streaky, so there is some risk involved. So in deeper leagues, you might be able to squeeze some value out of Cates there. Last one is Scott Lawton, listed as center left winger, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that third line in Philly's second power play unit, and he has 7 points in a 5-game point streak, and in those 5 games he's +9, 10 shots on goal, 7 hits, 4 blocks. He's been on a really good roll right now, and most Cats overall are good, so he should be a fairly good option for you, especially in a Cats league there. Over in LA, look at Victor Arvidsson, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 6 points the last 5 games. 2 of those points being on the power play, 16 shots on goal and 3 blocks in those 5 games. He's been fairly steady and should be a pretty decent option, especially on a light night for you. Another one in LA is Alex Iafallo, listed as a left winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 8 points his last 8 games, 3 of those points being on the power play, 17 shots on goal, and 5 blocks in 8 games. It's a pretty good number for a forward. He can be streaky, but pretty good of late. That second line's going pretty good in LA right now, so you definitely should get some value on a light night there. Next one's finishing off the second line. Look at Philip Danault in LA, listed as a center, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 10 points the last 9 games. 3 of those points being on the power play, 23 shots on goal, and 11 blocks. That's an S-load of blocks for a forward there. So really good the last few weeks, and he gets you a lot of blocks overall. So he should be a really solid streaming option for you in week 14 there. Now some remaining D-men that play on Wednesday. Do remember, out of these teams, Edmonton, Nashville, LA, and Philly we've already covered. Out of this segment, Anaheim and Washington, they're both 2-game teams this week, so it's pretty light schedule overall for them. San Jose and Toronto get 3 games. So with this, we'll get the 2-gamer, the light guys, out of the way first. In Washington, look at Eric Gustafsson, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit. Did have it, he was pointless the last 2 games. He did get an assist tonight so far, but he did have 13 points over the previous 7. Rode in there before I seen he got an assist. Little blip on the radar these last couple of games. He gets tons of opportunity and should get on a roll soon. Sounds like you already did that with at least 1 assist tonight. Game still going on. So definitely grab him if he is available in your league. Another one in Washington, Nick Jensen, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues. Playing second pairing there. He has 7 points his last 11 games with 14 hits and 19 blocks. He gets you a nice amount of hits and blocks there, and he's getting some offense his last few weeks, so he should be a decent option, especially on a light night there. Over in San Jose, look at Matt Benning, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, plays that second pairing in San Jose, second power play unit, and he has 3 points the last 4 games, and in those 4 games, he has 4 hits and 6 blocks. His offense can be a little bit on and off, but he's fairly consistent on his hits and blocks there. So for a light night, he should be an okay streaming option. Over in Toronto, look at Rasmus Sandin, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 5 points the last 7 games with 9 hits. With Riley back, it is going to be a little bit hit or miss. He has no points since coming back from injury, 5 in the previous 6 before that. But in deeper leagues, because his opportunity is obviously going to get cut a little bit, he will be an okay option for you. Now we'll move along to some remaining Wednesday forwards. Do remember, we've already covered Edmonton, Nashville, LA, and Philly. So out of this section, Anaheim and Washington, it's a 2-game week for them. San Jose and Toronto, they have 3 games this week. We'll start off in Anaheim and look at Adam Henrique, listed as center left winger, owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit there. And he has 3 points his last 4 games with 12 shots on goal and 4 blocks. He is streaky, but for a light night, he could be an okay option for you. Another one in Anaheim's Mason McTavish, listed as center left winger, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, top power play unit there, and he has 8 points his last 9 games, 4 of those points being on the power play, 23 shots on goal, and 9 blocks. He's been fairly good of late, and I know I mentioned this, but outside of Terry and Zegras, he does have the most offensive upside in Anaheim, so you should be able to hopefully get some value out of him on a light night. Over in Washington, look at Dylan Strome, listed as center right winger, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 6 games, and in those 6 games, he's +5, 3 of those points being on the power play, has 12 shots on goal and 6 blocks. He can be streaky, but he's hot right now. Might be a good option to ride the hot hand and stream him on a light night. Next one is Sonny Milano, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit. He has 8 points his last 10 games. Should say, I think he scored the first goal in tonight's game. That's still going on. And is a +7 in those 10 games. Overall, his offense is okay. It can be a bit streaky at times there. So in a deeper league, he might be worth a gamble there. Another one in Washington's Connor Sheary, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, second power play unit there, and he has 8 points his last 6 games, and in those 6 games he's plus 11, which is kind of insane, almost plus 2 a game, and he's thrown 7 hits in those 6 games. He gets points and plays with Ovi, so definitely with that, you're going to get some opportunity and should be a fairly good streamer for you on a light night. Over in San Jose, look at Logan Couture, listed as a center, owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues, centering that top line and top power play unit, and he has 4 points the last 4 games with 10 shots on goal, 2 of those points being on the power play, 3 hits, 6 blocks. Basically covers every category there, except for plus minus. Kind of hard to be good plus minus playing in San Jose this year. But with him, you get a bit of everything, and he'll be a good streamer, especially in Cats leagues there. Next one in San Jose is Alexander Barabanov, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there, and he has 4 points the last 6 games with 15 shots on goal, so fair amount of shots. He's kind of hit and miss, so some risk involved, but on a light night in a deeper league, he might be an okay option for you. Over in Toronto, look at Kelly Yarncroc, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, so like that you can place him in any of your forward slots there. Owned in 18% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, second power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 7 games. He is streaky, but he is playing well since coming back from injury and up on Tavares' line there. So a little bit risky, but it could work out the way it's been going of late for him. Next one in Toronto's Alexander Kerfoot, also listed as center, left winger, right winger, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third line there. He's put up 4 points his last 5 games with 11 shots on goal and 3 blocks. He's been decent of late. He's not going to wow you, but he won't necessarily hurt you there. So he should be an okay option for you in deeper leagues. Next one in Toronto is Pierre Engvall, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line on the second power play unit in Toronto, and he has 6 points his last 7 games with 16 shots on goal. He's on a really nice run for a third liner right now, and he does get you some power play time, so in deeper leagues, might be an okay option for you. Now we'll move along to some demon that have 4-game weeks that don't play on Monday or Wednesday. Start off in Arizona. Look at J.J. Moser, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit. And he's put up 3 points the last 5 games, so a little over half point per game, with 4 hits and 4 blocks in those 5 games. He is streaky, but he's on a nice little run late and has 4 games this week, so in your deeper leagues might turn out to be an okay option for you. Another one to look at in Arizona is Juuso Välimäki, 0% owned, so available everywhere there. He's on that second line and second power play unit there, and he's put up 4 points the last 7 games. He's similar to Moser, can be a bit hit or miss, but he does get a 4-game week, so if you're in a real deep league, might turn out to be an okay option for you. Over in Carolina, look at Brett Pesce, owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 6 points his last 6 games, 2 of those points being on the power play with 13 shots on goal and 11 blocks. He can be kind of hot and cold, but he's hot right now, will always get you a decent amount of blocks, so you may get some value out of him with him having a 4-game week there. We'll finish it off with some forwards that have 4-game weeks that don't play on Monday or Wednesday there. And again, we'll start off in Arizona. Look at Nick Schmaltz, listed as center right winger, owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, top power play unit there. And he has 11 points his last 9 games. 4 of those points being on the power play, 17 shots on goal and 6 blocks. He's been playing well, and there's no way else to say it. He'll be a pretty good option with having a 4-game week there. Next one in Arizona is Jack McBain, listed as a center, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. On that second line right now, he's put up 3 points the last 4 games with 12 shots on goal and 11 hits. He gets you hits and shots on goal. Offense is streaky, so there is some risk, but an option for you in certain formats and deeper leagues, of course. Another one in Arizona is Nick Bjugstad, listed as center right winger, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there. He's put up 5 points his last 5 games with 9 shots on goal and 7 hits. He also wins a good amount of faceoffs in there, so if that's counted in your league, be a little bit of bonus for you. His offense is up and down, but he's hot right now, so he can bring you some value in certain formats there. Next one is Lawson Krause in Arizona, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line, second power play unit. He's put up 5 points the last 5 games, plus 4 in those 5 games with 10 hits and 7 blocks. His offense is streaky, but he does contribute in other categories there. So if you're in a deeper Cats league especially, should be a decent option for this week there. Next one in Arizona is Barrett Hayton, listed as a center, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third line and up on the top power play unit in Arizona. He's put up 6 points the last 4 games with 10 shots on goal, 5 hits, and 3 blocks. He's been really good this last week there, but not a long stretch by any means, so he does make it a bit risky there. So in real deep leagues, just with how hot he's been, he could be a sneaky good option for you. Over in Carolina, look at Teuvo Teravainen, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the second line and top power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 10 games, 5 of those 7 points being on the power play, 24 shots on goal. So he's been playing a lot better of late. Definitely gets you some power play points there. And he should be an okay option for you, and you should be able to get some value if he's available. Sticking with Carolina, look at Stefan Noesen, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 13% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the fourth line, top power play unit there, and he has 8 points his last 10 games, is a +6 with 19 shots on goal and 18 hits. Should mention he's currently listed as day-to-day with an upper body injury, so do check his status before you do decide to add him. But he was playing well, so if available, he should definitely help you out, especially in your deeper leagues there. Going over to Vancouver, look at Brock Besser, listed as a right winger, owned in 46% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, second power play unit there, and he has 5 points his last 5 games with 9 shots on goal. He is streaky, but he does have talent. You just don't pot 30 goals and kind of fall off there. So with 4 games this week, he could be a fairly decent option for you. Last one in Vancouver is Andrei Kuzmenko, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 43% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there. And he's put up 8 points the last 7 games. And in those 7 games, he's also been a +7 there. Should mention that 7 of the 8 points came in 3 of those games, so you really gonna love him or hate him because he gets you points in bunches there. But with having 4 games this week, if you do dress him for 4 games, odds are he's gonna get a couple multi-point games in there and a couple of 0-point games. That's it for today's episode. Don't forget to check out 247clash.com. And if you do sign up and make a deposit, remember to use referral code LTC. If you watch this episode via YouTube, please remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell. If you're listening via podcast, remember to hit that heart, hit follow, hit subscribe, depending what platform you're listening to it on. We'll be out in a bit with our midweek waiver wire episode and weekend ads episodes, and good luck, fantasy owners, and we'll talk to you soon.